8,850 meters, the mountain has stirred the imagination and courage of man for centuries. Hundreds have died trying to climb to its summit, and now a city slicker with a borrowed sleeping bag but a lot of heart is about to attempt to trek to its third base camp. This is the Everest Podcast.
So this is going to be a bonus episode of the Everest Podcast. You've actually, I don't know if you've heard from Giovanni at all since I started the podcast, but now you will. Giovanni is one of the there's three people total in our group. He's one of the three other guys. One of the two other guys, I guess. I guess the altitude's getting to me. Anyway, so Giovanni's a classmate of mine who's been trekking along with us. And he and I just finished our trek to Base Camp 2 today. We're back at interim base camp. The noise in the background you hear is actually Pemba, our Sherpa, cooking. He's actually not supposed to be our Sherpa cook, as you guys know. He's actually, what's his role? Like the guide?
Yeah.
He's the Sherpa guide, but now he's Sherpa guide plus cook, because we lost our cook earlier. Anyway, so I want to introduce Giovanni.
Hello.
And we're just going to chat, because I was getting bored just listening to myself talk after like 14, 15, however many episodes. I thought it'd be a little more interesting if you had actually two people going at it rather than just one going at it with himself. So anyway, we'll start off by the altitude is getting to us. Anyway, it's a little past 8 p.m. Chinese time, but in reality it's about 6 p.m. everywhere else. Well, given that where the sun is about 6. The reason why it's 8 is because in the infinite wisdom, as Giovanni likes to say, the Chinese government, they insist on making their entire country one giant time zone. So the sun doesn't really apply to the time zone here, where we are in the Everest region. But anyway, it's about 8 p.m. We're about to have dinner soon, so we're a little cold. We're sitting outside. But first thing we want to just chat about is just what are some of the highlights of the trip? Like, what have been some of the best moments?
I'd say the best moment was when I got to the monastery and saw Everest for the first time. That was definitely pretty incredible.
That's Rongpu Monastery, right?
Yeah.
Dude, we still have to get a photo there.
Yes, we do.
So for podcast listeners, there's this one classic photo that that like every website has and every guidebook has of one of these Buddhist towers in the foreground and then Everest in the background. And Giovanni and I both really wanted that photo. And the day we set out for Rongpu, it was the perfect day for it. Like Everest there wasn't a cloud in the sky, clearest day ever, and we completely forgot. So hopefully we'll get it tomorrow.
And we weren't going to turn around.
Yeah, there was no way in hell we were turning around and retracing our steps.
Yep.
That was your best moment before we even started the trek?
It
doesn't say much about the trek.
No, I think that was definitely the most. It hit home right away that we were actually really close to it, and then I'd say today, getting even closer to it, really almost being able to see the summit with your own eyes.
Yeah.
Actually being able to make out like rock and stuff that's on the top of it that was pretty impressive as well.
You guys probably don't know, Giovanni is like the Hulk. He's like a machine. And I told him that he should just run up Everest, and I think he would have. Probably could have.
I don't know about that. I had quite a few headaches.
But it definitely was close. That was amazing today.
Yeah. Too bad we didn't get to go closer, but I'm sure Erick's already talked about that.
I've talked plenty. There's going to be hell to pay. Someone's going to have to pay up, and right now my guess is going to be a Tibetan guide. But
one bleep bale of straw was all that stopped us from getting to Camp 3. We were all in very good health and condition. So
yeah, it sucks that like the reasons why people usually don't get to make it all the way base camp 3 just didn't apply to us.
yeah,
I mean, for the both of us, with the exception of like my taking a really, really slow time coming up the mountain, because I'm just like not in shape at all. Besides that, and the cold that I have, there's really no reason why we couldn't have gone up there and beyond. I mean, we were laughing. That noise you heard, that person talking is a Tibetan dude from another expedition. I think everyone's kind of looking at us a little strange because we're just like, we're talking, but we're sitting next to each other and not talking at each other.
that's true.
So everyone kind of thinks, I think we have a little altitude sickness right now, including our own Sherpa.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk off the cliff over here for a second.
All right, so those are the good moments. What about the bad moment? What's the worst moment of the trip?
The worst moment was probably yesterday morning when my dad decided to turn around.
Yeah.
I knew it was for the best, but he was having a lot of trouble breathing.
Yeah.
He was definitely not in shape. I told him 5 months ago to start, but work got the best of him for the... He did really start to hit it hard for the last 2 months, but it wasn't. It was too little, too late.
And I mean, at a certain level, there's only so much preparation you can do, too, right? I mean, like, you and your dad both climbed, like, a couple of mountains before we headed out here, right?
Mount Whitney, White Mountain.
Yeah. I mean, those aren't easy peaks.
No.
I certainly won't ever do those.
And in fact, I took my dad on a real butt kicker for Mount Whitney. We were off trail the entire trip.
Yeah.
Going up snow fields with ice axe and crampons and going over high passes and dangerous
That's
descents.
way more technical than the trek that we had just this week.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just, I think at the end of the day, with Everest, you just can't predict what's going to hit you.
I mean, our Sherpa cook had to turn around.
Oh my God. So like, I don't know, Giovanni doesn't know this, but in my series of podcasts, that day I called the Bad Omens Day. The word of the day was Bad Omens.
I actually heard that from
you did?
tent.
Oh yeah. My God. Your dad, our Sherpa, our guide, the yak, bad yak. Oh. And then was that the same day where we found out that we couldn't hit base camp 3? It was the same day,
we
right?
were sitting right here and found that out, I think.
That was a bad day.
Yeah.
I think that's the answer to the question. What was the worst part of the trip? That day.
Yeah,
What was the worst part of the trip?
Was
Yesterday. Oh, was it only yesterday?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Time definitely slows down up here.
Oh my God.
Especially with the long hauls of physical exertion.
Oh.
It just seems like everything takes longer.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the altitude sickness. I know it didn't really I don't think it affected either of us that much, but
no. I'm not sure that I ever had it. I think that a lot of it had to do with dehydration and the combination of exercise, Diamox, the super dry air. Like after 5 breaths, your throat starts to get dry. I know you're sick, so you probably don't even know it, but like.
Oh, I knew it.
When I was climbing up, as soon as you start breathing hard, and you try and swallow, it hurts.
Yeah. Bemba, come over and say hi.
Hi.
We're making a recording for sort of like internet radio called podcast. That's our Sherpa who just said hi. Now he's running away. I think he has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I think so.
like really badly. I hope he washes his hands before he comes back to finish cooking.
Probably not.
Dude, Giovanni, that's like one of the things that, I mean, people prepared me for like the lack of sanitariness. Is that a word? Sanitation?
Sure.
Whatever
Sanitation.
it is. But honestly, there is so much crap everywhere on the floor here.
There's toilet paper at my feet.
Oh, that's probably mine. Actually, I don't think I mentioned this on my podcast. So I'm sick, and I've been blowing my nose nonstop for the last like 3 or 4 days. There's literally a trail of Kleenex. Actually, it started as Kleenex, but now it's just toilet paper. Like just up the Everest Trail, and that's thanks to me. Our Sherpa's back. But yeah, it's no wonder that I got sick. And your dad too. You got a little sick too.
He did.
With all this crap flying around in the air.
Yeah.
I think it just dries up and just you suck it in.
Poor sanitation.
Yeah.
Close quarters. We're all like huddled in a little tent and eating and drinking tea.
That's true. Yeah, if you get sick, Giovanni, you can blame me.
I'll try not to. I'm taking my vitamins and minerals.
That's the other thing. You guys have no idea. Like, if you want opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of preparation for this trip, you only have to look so far as Giovanni and then myself. First of all, before we took off, Giovanni's, like we just talked about earlier, was like trekking these 14,000 feet peaks, right, with his dad. I'm eating cheeseburgers and fries at In-N-Out. Then we show up. First of all, Giovanni's got, between you and your dad, you've got 3 giant duffel bags, right? Yeah. Of like gear. And I've got a little like I was seriously considering bringing like a little roller suitcase. At the last minute I decided against it. But Giovanni and his dad have gear up the wazoo. I think like anything that they sold at REI, you guys bought.
Maybe. Yeah. A lot of it we already had too.
See? Yeah. There you go. What's the coolest thing you have? I think I know the answer, but
the coolest thing?
What's the coolest piece of gear that you brought?
Ooh. I know the most coveted piece of gear probably is my chair that my thermarest turns into a chair. I'm using it in my tent right now.
See, I haven't actually seen this chair, and I think I know why now. Giovanni knows that if I see it, I'm going to want it. That's it?
Well,
I was going to say that
the most advanced piece of gear we got is the first aid kit that we put together for this trip. We got about 100 different prescription medications, everything from an EpiPen, which is epinephrine, to I don't know, suppositories for severe vomiting.
I don't think we're going to use those. Their first aid kit is, I think, the size of my duffel bag.
Yeah, it weighs about 10 pounds, I think.
I was going to say, the coolest thing that Giovanni brought is like these napalm matches.
Oh, yeah.
Tell them about the napalm matches.
The napalm matches are, there's stormproof. Basically, you can light them underwater. And I had a demonstration down at Camp 1 the morning after it snowed. I lit one, stuck it in the snow, and burned the snow, melted it, took it out, it's still burning, then put it back in and burned more snow, took it out, it's still burning. So
I think we'll burn
they're not
the water,
for children. Right? They're very dangerous,
wow.
But they're also very helpful when it's windy or snowing or raining. Or if you're underwater and you need to light something.
That's right. If you're drowning underwater and you really need a light. Hey Pembo, you're gonna have to get in on this little podcast thing soon. When you're not busy. Our Sherpa's constantly working.
Yeah, I don't know if there's ever a time he's not busy. Except today, he said he was really bored.
That's true. We had to hike to base camp 2 today without Pemba. He had to watch and protect our camp. Protected from all the people who come walking by, all the yak.
Yeah, there's lots. Considering that there's less than 1,000 people who come here a year approximately.
It's true. Actually, that's pretty
someone
cool.
who set up a tent about 20 feet away from us.
See, Giovanni's talking about this other. Oh, I should talk more quietly. They're right there. So this other expedition just showed up this afternoon, and we're at base camp, interim base camp. It's not a huge plot of land, but it's sizable, right?
It's a big ice cube, basically.
Yeah, we're on a hunk of ice. Yeah, hunk of ice covered with a thin layer of rock and dirt. And these guys plop their tents right next to us. Who does that?
When he's connecting the poles, my tent door was open and he hit me with the tent.
Seriously? I was telling Giovanni about this commercial. I think it was a Corona commercial of like this completely abandoned beach somewhere in Mexico, like a beautiful deserted beach with palm trees, and some dude finds this beach, is completely ecstatic. He runs over, plops down in a reclining chair, leans back, and starts sunning himself. And like 30 minutes later, some American tourist, I'm sure, with like a wife beater tan and a little tiny boombox runs onto the beach as well, sees the guy. It's like a mile-long beach of just deserted beach. And he runs right next to the guy, plops on his chair and sits right next to him. That's what this feels like. Oh, man. Unreal. Anyway.
I was just going to say, except for the fact that this is much bigger than a beach here.
It is a little bigger than a beach.
This is surprisingly a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Massive.
Yeah.
Especially the East Rangpur Glacier. The way right before we got to Camp 2, the way it just looks like it just keeps going into the horizon.
Little do you guys know, but Giovanni is actually a racist. He calls these glaciers, what'd you call it? Far East Glacier?
That's
East Oriental Glacier?
That is the Far East Glacier over there. Right over there. Right to your direct.
Far East Oriental Glacier. Jeez. Everything's racial with this guy. Anyway, I'm freezing my hands off, so I'm gonna pause this, and we'll continue in a second once we get Pemba, our cook, with us, and we can continue with this little, hopefully more entertaining banter than just listening to my little monologue.
Don't ask me hard questions.
So we're actually just joined by Pemba, our Sherpa. He just said I'm not allowed to ask him any hard questions. I don't know what those are. What's a hard question?
What's the meaning of life?
What is the meaning of life? We're in Shangri-La. You should know this. This is where it all happens.
Yep.
All right, he doesn't know. So, okay, Pemba, talk about your resume. Where have you gone? Where have you trekked?
Sorry?
Where have you been before?
Before.
Sorry, we got distracted. There's a really nice sunset.
I have been many places in Nepal.
Yeah?
Nepal, like in Khumbu, Langtang, and Annapurna around. Many places.
And you know what? I'm gonna pause 1 second and take a photo
okay.
of this.
No problem.
1 second. I'm distracted by the sunset. I'm gonna take a picture.
For more information on Erick's Everest trek, as well as photos from his trip, please visit his website at www.everestpodcast.com.